What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Studios Series number 36 Deluxe Class Autobot Drift with the baby Dinobots consisting of Dinobot Tops, Dinobot Terry, and Dinobot Sharp T. And with that being said, that was a mouthful. Let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging. Up front, we have a nice picture of Drift there from the last night. He is number 36 of Studio Series. His name is Drift, and there you have all the baby Dinobot names. He's an Autobot. Transformers The Last Night, 8 and Up, Hasbro. Transformers Generations, Takara Tomy. Moving him out of the way, there is a profile image of Drift on the side. Studio Series 36 Deluxe Class there on this side of the packaging. Another picture of Drift there, authentic. On the back of the packaging, he is big screen inspired from Transformers The Last Night. He is Autobot Drift, and there's all the baby Dinobots names again. From the Junkyard Meditation scene, you have some nice images of the figure going on there, along with all the baby Dinobots. Transforms in 12 steps. Autobot Drift loses his inner calm and his balance when the mischievous baby Dinobots break his concentration. Backdrop included. We will take a look at that later. Some other available figures that you can pick up. We've taken a look at all of those on the channel, so go check those videos out after this one if you haven't already. Hasbro there on the bottom, a barcode on the top, Transformers The Last Night, and Dust. And before we get to Drift himself, we do of course have to talk about his instruction manual included in the packaging. You can see he's 36 Studio Series, Autobot Drift, and baby Dinobots. You have an Autobot logo there. Deluxe Class Transformers, all your Dinobots and Drift, ages 8 and up, Transformers Generations. On the back, nothing, because it's all just steps. And moving on to the figure himself, here is Drift in the Mercedes that he appears as in Transformers The Last Night. And I think the alt mode does look pretty good. They have made it look awesome with this paint colorway. But coming in close so we can take a look at the details, you can see the front is done in a nice silver with an awesome Mercedes logo there on the front. Nice silver for the headlights. You have the red going all the way down the side, and also the painted tires with the red going on there. The paint is on the tires. I don't know if that's supposed to be the wheel, but it looks like it's on the tires. But anyways, you see nice glossy black all throughout. Nice translucent windows all around. Overall looks nice. Molded in door handle. Looks pretty awesome. The stripe continues back here. On the back, you do have a little baby Mercedes logo right there and your big old spoiler, which looks pretty nice, and some more nice molded detailing down here. The bottom, you can see how everything's gonna work out. The top looks very nice. You have those little exhausts or whatever those are going on there. I'm not a car geek. I don't know everything about cars, but overall I do think the Mercedes here looks pretty nice. Now, when it comes to weaponry for Drift, you get two that are currently stored. You can kind of see them right there in the car mode. We'll take a look at those later, but you do get two more blades here that are pretty nice, but you can see just unpainted gray plastic, but the details are pretty nice. And these do store here in alt mode. You can just plug them into the feet there using that tab. You can just swing around there, and there are nice grooves there for the hilt, so you can just put those in there like that and have those tabbed on down there, and you can still roll around very nicely. Another accessory you get is the bigger sword that he has in The Last Night. Much more detail going on this one, and much better paint. The gold, some nice detailing all around. Looks pretty daggone nice. Now, unfortunately, this one doesn't really store in the alt mode. The instructions don't give you anywhere to put it. I guess you're just supposed to... there you go. There is your storage. And just for a quick comparison here with Drift, here he is with the original Transformers The Last Night Deluxe Class Autobot Drift, and as you can see, it's the same exact figure with slight paint differences, a glossier black used here, and no Autobot logo. But you can see it is pretty much, the wheels look better on the new Studio Series version. But overall, in car mode anyways, it does for the most part look like the same figure. Not the same to be said for the robot mode, but here in car mode, they do pretty much look like the same figure. And stepping away from Drift for a minute, we have to talk about the baby Dinobots that we get. First of all, we get little Sharp T, which is, I guess, baby Grimlock. And as you can see there, he is nicely painted in mostly silver with blue on his eyes, and he can articulate a little. His legs can move front and back, and his arms cannot do anything, but he can roar. He can totally roar all over the place and blow fire all over Cade's trailer if that's what you want him to do. But there is Sharp T. You do also get little Tops is this one's name. He's a little triceratops if you can't tell. Haha, pun in the name, hilarious. But green eyes for him and nice silver once again. I guess this is Slag's child, even though he's called Slug, I think, in the movies, but to me he's Slag. But as you can see, his front arms do move on each side. You can move his front arms and his back legs, or front legs and back legs. I don't know how it works when they have 4 of them. And as for his mouth, I don't think you can really get him to do anything, but you can rotate it a little side to side, his head. So you get a little articulation with Tops there. And then you have Terry, who I assume is Strafe in the movie, was his name's kid. In the G1, he was a name that is not coming to my brain, and that's going to get Swoop. That's what it is. But as you can see, nice silver once again. Some more gray used on him with his arms, but the head's got the nice silver with the blue in the eyes. Now his mouth can also not really open and shut. It's more molded into place. Now his front little wings can move up and down, and his back little legs can move around if you want them to. His tail doesn't do anything, but they all 3 have some nice little articulation, and it is awesome that we got these guys included in the Studio Series lineup. And turning back to Drift, overall, the alt mode looks pretty daggone good, but we're going to go ahead and transform him. So the first thing we're going to do is untab these panels here on the side, and they are on double hinges. You can just hinge those up. Do the same thing on this side. Just untab this and hinge that up. Come to the back here and just pull this section up to untab it. Come here to the front and just wiggle this piece out to untab this, and you're going to bring this piece up on its double hinge. If it will operate, please, operate, cooperate, and operate. There we go, bring that piece up, and then you can just bring this whole section up, and this piece will rotate 180 degrees around like that, and that will form his backpack. Now what we can do is I'm just going to go ahead and remove these out. You don't have to, you can just flip them around, but I like to take them off, and we'll mess with those some more here in a second. But this backpack is going to come up, and basically this piece is just going to kind of rest on it. It's not really a tabbing point, but you can just rest it there. Now for the arms, just extend them out at the shoulder there. Do the same thing on this side, just extend them out. And for the finishing touches, just bring this piece back, bring the foot down, straighten out the knee, do the same thing on this side, bring that piece back, foot down, and make sure everything is oriented properly. And once you get all of that done, there you have Studio Series The Last Night Drift in his robot mode. And overall, an extremely easy transformation, but the result is mostly satisfying other than his big old backpack. But coming in close, you can see the details on his head sculpt. You can see he's got the red, the gold, the black, of course with the samurai look going on. He's got his little black beard going on there, but overall it looks pretty nice on the chest. You have a faux chest, but you have the Mercedes logo and some nice reds and silvers, more red and black down the leg, and some silver there, some silver on the top of his toes, which looks pretty nice. Overall, he is painted nicely compared to a lot of Studio Series figures, but the backpack is where this figure struggles. It just kind of flops around and just hangs out there and looks pretty daggone ugly. But overall, if you leave him in the front view, he doesn't look all that bad, and he is a decently movie-accurate Drift. Now, when it comes to articulation, he is pretty limited, judging by the fact that he is literally just the Last Night version repainted. So the head is on a ball joint, so you can kind of, sort of, not really get 360, but you can mostly get him to look all the way around. He can also look up some and down some, and it can wiggle waggle side to side a little. The arms can do full 360s. They can move in and out. You also have that shoulder joint if you want him to do some shrugs. You have a rotation at the elbow and a ratchet joint at the elbow. For whatever reason, that's what they went with, but about 90 degrees there. and you do get a little bit of a wrist movement, which is nice. Now, these two pieces can move up and out of the way to accommodate for any posing that you want to do. You can just get those out of the way. Nothing at the waist. Sadly, the legs can't really move forward, can't really move back, can do a full split. You do not get a rotation at the knee, but you do get one up here at the top of the leg. You have 90-degree of knee motion, and the ankles, no pivot, no rotating, but you can move them up and down due to transformation. So like I said, he is pretty limited in the articulation side of things, but that is mostly due to the fact that he is just a repainted version of an older figure. And if we bring in his slew of accessories, we didn't take a look at these because they were stored in the car mode, but you do get two of these little daggers, and he can hold them if you want, but you do have a better option. You can just tab them back to where they were in alt mode, like so and like so, to give him a more movie accurate look with the little swords popping up from behind his head. You do, of course, also get these two blades, which, if I can hold them, he can also hold these, but you can also store these, and basically to do that, you just have to bring this piece out, and he is a very dark figure, but you can kind of see there is a little place for this tab to go into right there, so you can just line that up. And these do not hold very securely on my copy. They actually really get on my nerves, but you can kind of just line that up. See if I can't line that other side up, and just tab those in, and you can kind of have that look going on with 4 swords sticking out from his back. So that's an option if you want to use it. Me personally, I just take these off and sit them to the side because they just fall off all the time, and I do not like them very much personally. But of course, you do get his big old, well, stand up, Drift. I'm trying to give you your armament, but you do of course get his big old sword, and he can hold his big old sword. You basically just tab it into his hand, and he can wield and slash with his big old sword, and he does look pretty cool with that sword right there. And for some quick comparisons, here is the Studio Series version with the original Transformers The Last Night Drift, and as you can see here in robot mode is where you see the differences. Much better paint job given to this new Studio Series version, as this guy was originally mostly all red, but you can see even on the arms there, much better paint going on with this new version for sure. And if I can get him to stand up a little straighter so we can kind of sort of see what's going on here. Here he is with a CG model of how he looked in The Last Night. So you can see how close they got this guy to his original model. Now, I do wish he would have got a new mold, of course, as that original Last Night mold was not the most accurate thing in the world. But I'd say with the new paint job, he does look much better than he did with the original Last Night figure. But I do think that, like they just recently did with Studio Series 18 Bumblebee, this guy could certainly use a rego here in the Studio Series line. And last but certainly not least, we of course have to talk about the now sadly discontinued display base that used to come in the package with all these Studio Series figures. You can see you have the junkyard from The Last Night there. You have The Last Night written down there. 36 Studio Series Transformers, all of that greatness. And if you want, if I can stop knocking the light around, you can place Drift on there if you want. You can also bring in your little mini Dinobots. So there's Shark T, there's Terry, and there's Tops, or as I refer to them, just the mini Dinobots. But there is a great display option if you have the room in your collection to use that. So that is my review for the Transformers Studio Series 36 Deluxe Class Autobot Drift and Baby Dinobots from Transformers The Last Night. And overall, this is by no means a must-have figure. If you're just a casual Transformers collector and you feel like, hey, I want to have a cool figure, then you don't need this guy. There's much better third-party versions of this Drift, my bad, I think Metagate just made one here recently. Of course, that's more expensive, but with what this guy's going for on the aftermarket, I think you might as well just pick up that third-party version if you want this version of Drift. Now, if you are a Studio Series collector, or if you are a character collector, if you feel like you want every character from a Transformers movie, then I would say this here is your best chance and probably your only chance at getting the mini Dinobots, baby Dinobots, whatever you want to call them. Those were certainly a great inclusion with this figure, and that's the reason I picked this figure up for the most part. I did enjoy the new paint job, and of course Metagate version wasn't out way back when I got this guy, but the baby Dinobots were the deciding factor for me in getting this figure. Pretty much I just wanted to have those guys because I am a character collector, and I'm also a Studio Series completionist sometimes, not when it's 69 Devastator for $1,200. But this guy overall, no means a must-have figure, but if you are a character completer or if you really enjoy the Studio Series, then I would recommend it to someone in that situation. So that is about it that I have to say about Drift. He is a much better version than the original Last Night version, much better paint job, especially here in robot mode, but the robot mode is not fully accurate. The car mode, however, looks absolutely awesome, and I do appreciate that they included the big old sword along with the mini Dinobots. Now, I'm not sure what he's going for on the aftermarket, but like I've said, you don't really need this guy unless you're a Studio Series or character collector. But overall, if I had to rate this Drift, I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. Not a bad figure, an enjoyable figure to transform back and forth, but not a figure that anyone really needs in their collection. But that's about all I have to say for Drift. Don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. Rampage will be next, and until then, roll out. Peace.